Hey guys, it's your boy Wolfie. Now, while streaming Outriders, I've gotten a ton of complaints. People saying Anomaly builds are bad, Devastators are the worst class in the game, Anomaly rounds are the only way to play, I can't get to CT15, the game's not balanced, etc, etc, etc. So what I ended up doing is I made a Devastator and I played the game solo from level 1. I did the entire campaign, no side quests, didn't even leave it at World Tier 1, played it normally, and I pushed all the way to CT15 in around 2 days. I don't mean 2 days played, I mean 2 days overall. I did all my normal stuff, I did my stream, I did my raid, I did all my regular real life stuff, and I still made it CT15 in 2 overall days. Granted, I get to play more than the average person, so you guys are more looking around the week, and I did get pretty lucky with an RNG drop, which gave me an amazing tier 3 mod. But outside of that, it was pretty much normal go through play. And I've come to the conclusion that these classes aren't bad, and these anomaly builds aren't bad. It's more along the lines that people don't know how to gear, and they don't know how to abuse the crafting system for their benefit. They're kind of in a situation where they don't have the information to progress. And don't feel bad, because I was the same way. It took me like 60 or 70 hours on my first character to get a CT15. But once I understood how the gearing system works and how the crafting system works, it became easy to gear up to get the CT15. And I'm going to show you guys how. And the way that I know that people don't know how to do this is if you look right here, on Steam, it says that only 4.7% of players have improved the rarity of 15 items. This is the main way you gear. I had this achievement early in my build. Yeah, that's a lot. That means 95% of the player base are not improving items. That's the trick to getting god rolled items, is to find blues and to find greens and to upgrade them and improve their rarity. Because every time you improve the rarity of a green or a blue, it doesn't just give you a random trait. You get to choose between 3 different traits. It's insane. So I'm going to show you guys how I did this, all right? So let's go right into the game. As you can see, I hit CT15 with all purples. I have no set bonuses. And the one thing that I found that I'm lucky that all anomaly builds want is this fortress mod, which actually increases the damage of your anomaly abilities and your gun at the same time. It's actually really good, and look out for it, because if you get it, it will literally change the way you play the game, right? So as we go through, you can see that all my items have anomaly power, they have cooldown reduction, some of them are god rolled, like this chest. Doesn't have great armor, but it has everything else that I want. Yeah, as you can see, it's all through. All these items, not a single one of them are purple. They were all blues and greens. All I did was upgrade them. That's all I did. So what people don't realize is that if you upgrade a blue or you upgrade a green, when you do it, you get multiple choices. So it's way easier to find a blue with the correct stats and just say, hold on, hey, I really want max health, cooldown reduction, and close range damage. I'm also happen to be using Impale. Fantastic. Let me just upgrade this rarity real quick. It costs a couple titanium, but I get to choose one of 3 different traits, which is huge. Means that instead of going off of a purple drop that just automatically has the stuff on it, I get a chance of 3 different traits that can be the one that I want. This makes gearing so much easier. And greens are even better because you get to choose the first trait. And the first trait is always in the first tier. This is fantastic. You know what? This melee damage is actually good. I'm gonna choose melee damage because I actually use melee on a Devastator. This is not a bad helm for someone just starting with an anomaly build. And this came from a blue. This is automatically better than this one because I don't use any one of these traits. So even if I were to swap one, the other one would be useless. These are 2 useful traits that I can actually use in my build. Do you see how much more simple that was? And it's so, you get so many blues that you can just go through and see which ones have the stats that you want. This works for bullets, this works for anomaly powers. This is how you gear. This is how you get your top end stats. This is how you get your perfect rolled stuff. Upgrade the rarity of your gear. Trust me, it'll change the way you play the game and it'll make the game a lot easier. Tip number 2. If you're leveling on an anomaly build, your weapon level isn't the most important thing. It is important, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the traits that you have that increase the damage of the abilities you do, make sure that is leveled to the max. So what I did is I put both my damaging abilities on my gloves. So while I was leveling and while I was going through CT tiers and everything, my most important thing to keep max level was my gloves, because every time that leveled up, my damage went up for 2 different abilities. That's huge. So if you want a tip where you're leveling or you're trying to go through CT tiers, try to put all your damage on the least amount of items possible. Now, if you have earthquake damage, gravity leap, impale on 3 different items, you're going to need to upgrade those 3 items or you're gonna feel weaker than normal. As opposed to like earthquake skill steals 33% of their armor. That 33% doesn't change with the level of the item. Same thing with emergency stance. That does not change with the level of the item. So my pants can theoretically be the lowest level of my gear and it be okay. I cannot have the gloves the lowest level. That makes sense? That should make leveling as anomaly builds easier, and it should make progressing through CT levels easier. Now there's another secret thing to tell you guys about. Your average item level is basically a second version of a level. Your stats, your firepower, your anomaly power, your health, and your armor all scale based on your average item level. So let's say you only have 4 pieces of gear. You have 2 level 50 pieces and 2 level 40 pieces. Your overall item level is 45 and your stats are going to be equal to what a level 45 would have. You would have to bring up those level 40s to 50s and you basically get what's free scaling stats. So you want to be as high level as possible. This is why it's not as important to gold all the time, but it's more important to push the highest CT tier you can. If you can progress and get a silver, then progress with a silver. You can silver all the way up to 14, and you only have to get 1 gold of a 14 to unlock 15. And then you get level 50 items, which will make everything else easier. So make sure that your level of your items is always as high as you can possibly get to, and that's going to just passively make you stronger, even if the item doesn't have the best stats. If it does have good stats, awesome. So as I was doing this, I couldn't even do 15s. I had to stay on 14 because I didn't have my items at max level yet. They were all 48 and 49, and I couldn't do 15s. As soon as I leveled them to 50, I almost get golds in 15s right now. Without a set, without min-max gear, I can silver at almost every single expedition at 15 right now, and I am at no risk of dying because I'm the Devastator. It's fantastic. It's not as hard as people make it out to seem, and yes, these builds are viable. They just take a little bit more finesse, and obviously it's probably going to take a little more to gold. You're probably going to have to get better min-max items. You're probably going to have to get your set pieces, but what did you expect? To pretty much kill the hardest content in the game without really good gear? I mean, it just is what it is, right? So those are my basic tips and tricks on how to get to CT 15, especially if you're playing an anomaly build. The greatest thing about this is that actually works with other builds too. If you're building a bullet build, this is just as valuable for you. Not only that, but let me point something out real quick. And the only reason I know this is because Moxie pointed it out, right? Is emergency stance is bugged. It's not only for 4 seconds. The moment it procs, it's on for the rest of the expedition. So if you're having a hard time surviving, put emergency stance on there. It is a bug, but it'll make your life easier. I was just testing it out, and yeah, it's 100%. The moment it procs, it's on for the rest of the expedition. So use that to help you guys out to get to a further expedition if you guys want. But yeah, that's the best I got for you. That's the best things that I can do. Pretty much the greens and blues, super valuable. Purples can be amazing. Most likely suck. Legendaries have set in stone stats and set in stone traits. So they're either god rolled or terrible. So your min max is what 3 best pieces of gear you can put on, and then the best purples you can find, or the best blues and greens that you upgraded to purples. So I hope this helps. All right, guys. I hope you guys get to CT15 faster. I hope this was educational. I hope this makes the game easier for you. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Smash that like button and drop a comment. Let me know how you guys feel. When we stream between 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., 6 days a week. And I usually stream Outriders usually at the end, so sometimes I go even after 6 a.m., but whatever. But if you want to stop by and ask me questions with a more instant response, feel free to stop by the stream, or you can @ me on Twitter, or you can even hang out on my Discord. All of it works. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. You guys have a good day. Deuces, my friends.